Hey everyone, how's it going? So, how many of you guys at home or in your art rooms have something like this? A bucket or box or drawer, bag, whatever, filled with lots and lots of kind of old beat up crayons. Well, today I'm going to show you guys how you can turn these old beat up crayons into a really cool cactus project like this. So, to start off with this cactus project, it's really easy. All you're going to need is a sheet of paper, you're going to need a pencil, a permanent marker, and your crayons. And buckets of crayons like these, with just lots of random colors in it, they work the best. So, to start off with this, we need to create our bowl of cacti. Now, to do this, it's very simple. So, the first thing with your pencil is you guys want to draw a nice big oval in the middle of your paper. So, I'm going to start off by drawing a nice oval just like this. Then, I'm going to start right here and I want to make a big smiley face that goes from one end all the way to the other. Now, be careful. You don't want to start it here and end it here, else it's going to look really weird. So, you just want to make a nice big smiley face that goes from one end to the next like this. Now, after you have this drawn, you want to start creating your cacti. Now, I like to start with some small ones in front. This is a great way to learn about, overlapping and having small pictures in front and big ones in the back. So, to start off, I just want to make a couple small cacti, or I can make some small little succulents. So, I'm going to start with one, and I'm just going to do this. I'm going to make a little oval, and then I'm just going to make a big circle around it. Then I'm just going to put some different lines kind of coming down here. Now, maybe I want to make something that looks more like an aloe plant. So I'm going to make some kind of really wavy lines like this. I want to keep them rounder at the bottom and skinnier at the top. So I'm just going to make some of these going in all different directions. And I'm just going to put these kind of all over the place. No set pattern. Like that. Then maybe I want to make like a little small cactus. So I can just draw something that just kind of looks like a little oval shape like this. And then I could always put like a little circle on top and a few little spiky lines for like a flower around it. Now, I've got a few in here, so now I want to start with some bigger ones. So here's a couple easy ways on how to draw some large cacti. So I always have my students start right behind one of these other small cacti in the front. So the first one, we can make one that kind of looks like a prickly pear. So I'm just going to start here and I'm just going to make some big ovals like this. Then I'm just going to draw some smaller ovals off to the side of it. Now, this next one, I always call this the hot dog cactus. So I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to draw a line that just goes up and then down, kind of like an oval shape. And then I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to draw a line that just kind of curves down here. And then another one that goes down right here, and this is where you kind of get that hot dog looking shape. Now, this one's always cool because you can always go and add some little cactus arms onto the side of it. And then I always like to make lines going along with it. Then you can also make just kind of like a normal cactus as well. So to do that, I'm just going to make a kind of oval shape like I did on that first one. And then I'm just going to make a couple little arms kind of sticking off this. I'm going to put this one behind here like this. And then I'm just going to add some wavy lines onto this cactus. Now, this cactus is not behind anything here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a little wavy line. And I'm going to do that underneath all my plants in the front as well, just so it looks like they're sitting in dirt. So now that I have this, then what I want to do is I want to outline this in permanent marker. Now, the trick is though, is I do not want to trace these lines, and trust me, you're going to have kids that are going to trace these. So when I'm tracing this, I just want to make sure I go around and I want to stop at each cactus, jump over it, and then just keep repeating that. Okay, so after you have all of your cacti and your bowl and everything traced, then what you're going to want to do is you want to erase all of your pencil lines and everything in there. And especially you want to get these back here so that you don't see any lines inside of your cactus. So any really big pencil lines that you see, you just want to make sure that you get all of those. I'm going to erase that little flower there too. So now you have your basic shape of a bowl of cacti. Now it's time to add some different details and everything on here. So I'm going to take my Sharpie and I want to add some details. Now, one of the most important things that cacti have are going to be their thorns, and there are all sorts of different ones. So for this one, I'm just going to make some little dots all over this in just random places. And this will make it look like they're just little tiny thorns on here, or little kind of like pricklies. So I'm just going to cover that up with this. And then I always like to kind of add a couple extra lines, kind of broken ones, around the cactus. And that just kind of makes it look a little bit more realistic. And then on something like this, I can always add like a flower. Have a nice big one up there. Another way you can do your cactus spikes are by making X's down the lines of the cactus. And by doing this, just kind of makes it look a little bit more interesting, makes it look a little bit different, and I'm going to kind of put a few less on the outside, just like this. And you can even put a couple going down the center. And then don't forget to do some on the arm as well. Then you can always do like the traditional one, and you can just make lines coming off of it in different sections and kind of all over, going all different directions. Just like this. Then, like on this little one that I have right here, you can always make some bigger spikes that really kind of stick off and shows that no one wants to mess with this little cactus. Just like that. Then on some of these other ones, you can add extra details. I always like to add a few extra lines on these just to make it look more realistic. And I always kind of throw little details like dots and different things on here. So, just like that. Now what we want to do is we want to start coloring our cacti. Now, when we do this, we want to make sure that we do this in a kind of even pattern, and we want to make sure that we do some shading on here. So what I always do is in one of my corners, left or right, I just draw a little tiny sun very, very lightly. And then this way I know that it needs to be light on the right side of all my cacti and then dark on the left side of all the cacti. Now, this is the really cool part because this is where your bucket of crayons come in. So what you want to do is you want to find lots of different shades of greens and some blues and yellows. So you want to make sure that you are getting light greens, that you're getting dark greens, that you're getting all sorts of different shades of greens. You want to make sure that you're getting yellows as well, and also some blues in all different shades. Okay, so I have quite a few different shades of greens and some blues and some yellows. So this is the really fun part of doing some shading and stuff on here. So let me show you guys a couple different ways that you can shade these. So one way is to find a dark green, such as this, and start by shading the dark sides, or the left side. So I'm going to just take this, and I'm just going to color the left side of this cactus with this dark green. So I'm going to just color this, pushing down nice and hard, and I'm just going to color about a third of it. Then I'm going to do the same thing on all of these little sections here, like that. Then I want to find kind of like a little bit of a lighter green, kind of like a medium one, so like this. Then I'm just going to color this a little bit lighter with this one, and I'm making sure that I'm blending right on top of that dark green. And then I'm going to do the same thing up here. Then you can take like a really, really light green, like a yellow green, or you can just do a plain yellow, and I'm just going to color that on this side. And I'm just going to kind of blend it in with that green. And there you go, there's a little bit of a shaded cactus. Now, so that's one way you can do it. Another way you can do this is by just taking kind of like a normal shade of green, and you can color the whole cactus with that one shade. So I'm going to, oh, that's a little bit too yellow. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to color this whole cactus with kind of like a light yellow green. It looks a little bit more yellow, but we'll fix it in a little bit. So I'm just going to color this whole thing with this light green. And I'm going to get this arm of it as well. Then after I have that, then I can take something like a darker green and I can color right on top of that. And with this type cactus, this one's cool because I can do each one of these sections. And then I'm going to get a little bit lighter on here with some of that yellow. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the arm. So those are some different ways to color it. You can do other simple ways too. You could just stick with one color and you could just color really, really dark on one side. Get a really, really nice dark shade on one side. Do the same thing to the arms. And then instead of switching colors, what you can do is you can just slowly start to color a little bit lighter as you get towards that other side. Just don't push down as hard. And that will give you some nice shading as well. Now, another trick that you can do is you can just color one of your, that's a little bit too bright. You can just color one of your cacti with a nice shade of green. Then you can take a little bit of blue and you could color a little bit of blue onto one side of it just to help make it a little bit darker. And then you can add your yellow onto the other side to make it a little bit lighter. Then you can just kind of play around with all of the different colors and stuff that you have. You can try different things with your cacti, add different colors, do some different shading techniques. It's always cool to see what the kids come up with and how they create their different cacti. I'm going to come in here and add some blue onto this one. Just give it more of like a blue-green color. And you can also stick with try other colors too. You don't have to just use greens. You know, there are like, purple and reds and different things you can bring into these. It's just all about what you guys want to try. And then I can color this flower up here. And if you have flowers and stuff, you can add different colors onto them. Bring in some oranges and stuff. Okay, so there is my cacti. They're all colored and shaded. Now I need to focus on the dirt in here. So what I'm going to do is I want to get a nice brown, and I'm going to color my dirt this nice brown color. And you can also do some shading and stuff in here if you want to. And I always encourage the kids to kind of mix some of their colors. You can mix different things like reds and stuff in here, oranges. You guys have like tans or peaches to make it look more like sand. Lots of different things you guys can do in here. So I might take a little bit of orange and just kind of mix it in there, just to give it more of like a desert look. Now, for the bowl, what we want to do is, just to make it look a little bit more interesting, is we just want to add some patterns and stuff on here. So what I like to do is I just like to break the bowl up into 4 different sections, and you can always do more depending on what age group you're doing with this. And then I just like to do some basic little patterns in here. So I'm just going to do some little wiggly lines. This is a great way to work on patterns and shapes with your class. You can try different things, challenge them, make them blend different patterns and stuff together. So I'm going to do some little zigzags, and you just want to fill up your whole bowl with different patterns and stuff. You could actually have them do different types of patterns on here, or just stick with shapes. Something like that. Then you can always have them like color in different sections. I always like to keep the bowl black and white, just because I think that the cacti look so cool that I don't want to take anything away from them. So I'm just going to add a little bit of this black and white pattern in here. There you go. And because we're not painting or anything, this is also, if you don't want to use Sharpies, they are a lot more expensive, and we all know how kids get when they start coloring them. You can always go and just use a normal black marker as well, just like a black Crayola or whatever, and that'll do the job just as well. So once you're done with this, then what we want to do is we want to make a horizon line in here. So the horizon line separates the sky and the ground. So you can do this in pencil or marker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my paper, and I'm just going to draw a straight line that goes from the paper to my bowl, just like this. And then now it looks like my cacti are sitting on a table. Then what I'm going to do is I want to erase my little sun. And then I want to color the background. Now, when coloring the background, you guys can do all sorts of different things. I always have the kids choose 2 colors, and they can blend colors, whatever, but I do the top one color and the bottom another color. And I always tell them to try to stay away from green, especially on the top, because we already have so much green and stuff in here. So I'm just going to go with a nice orange and purple, and I'm going to start by just kind of coloring really lightly, and I'm just going to color the whole table orange. And I'm not pushing too hard, I just want this to be nice and light. And I just want to fill in the whole table. You can always have them get a little bit darker under the bowl, just to show some more shading. And then I want to just do the same thing with the background up here. Big thing is you want to make sure that the kids are coloring in one direction. You don't want them going side to side, then up and down, then diagonal. And there you guys go. There is your drawing of a nice cactus portrait, and just using plain old empty, leftover crayons. This is a great project for, third graders and upper grades, or even the younger grades, trying to get them used to shading and different things like that. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next one.